I have coached 15 players in Rivals, different ranks, different weapons, completely different playstyles, and every single one of them made the exact same mistakes. So I went back through all 13 episodes, found the 8 things they all got wrong, and I'm putting it in one video, so you don't have to learn the hard way like they did. And real quick, if this actually helps your gameplay, drop a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future tips and tricks videos, and let me know down in the comments if you want to see part 2 of this video. Mistake number 1 would be reloading while fully exposed. A lot of people I play against do this, and the people I coached in these 13 episodes also struggle with it a lot. You dash onto one of the arena walls, you take that aim duel, your opponent goes down, but you stay up and reload your weapon while completely exposed. This not only makes you the easiest target, but it also creates a bad habit that better players will always punish. What I would recommend in that situation is switching to your secondary if you really have to. This includes trying to move out and using your secondary to help you get out, or if the opponent is low HP and you want to finish him off. But when it comes to reloading, you always want to do it with cover. As soon as a good opponent hears you reload, they will instantly push you to catch you off guard, so the safer you are, the better the outcome will be. And you can always dash back up, but onto different positions, just don't reload fully exposed. I mentioned dashing up with sight, and that's where the second mistake comes into play. Playing aggressively or dashing up when you're really low HP won't make you win the round, because no matter how good your aim is or how good you are, they will still outdamage you unless you're using sniper and one-shot them, which doesn't happen all the time. Playing aggressive while low HP is sometimes not a bad option because you put pressure on the opponent, they lose control of the fight and start making bad mistakes. Now, that usually works only if your opponent struggles against aggressive playstyles, and that's not really easy to figure out, so it becomes risky too. Many pros tell you to always play with high ground, and I agree with that, but there's so much you can do on low ground with cover by simply running around. For example, arena walls and peeking every now and then. You stay unpredictable and you almost always land shots before your opponent, but most importantly, you have to keep track of them the entire time. Also, mistake number 7 and 8 are done by 90% of Rivals players, including you, so it's really important that you watch till the end to see why. We mentioned keeping track of your opponent the entire time, so how do you do that? Well, one of the best ways to do it is by simply listening to audio cues, to the sounds around you. That could be warhorn sight, reload sounds, footsteps, literally anything your opponent does. It automatically reveals their position because of the direction the sound comes from. Don't sleep on audio cues, and don't play this game without sound, because sound matters a lot. A lot of people make this mistake. You pick arena, do this warhorn sight start, and dash onto this specific wall. The enemy doesn't expect it and you win the fight. Next round, you do the exact same thing and barely win the fight again. What do you think happens the third time if you go to the exact same spot again? Yeah, your opponent expects you and you get absolutely destroyed. Then you blame your aim, movement, everything that completely covers the actual issue, which is being repetitive, or well, going to the same spot over and over again because it worked. Instead, go left once, then go right, then dash up on this wall or a different wall, but always keep changing the direction you're going. Or if you're using grenade, do this jump, or even this jump. Just keep switching sides and your opponent will never be able to predict you properly. Another mistake would be not liking this video and subscribing to the channel. You will miss out on other guides and coaching episodes, and trust me, if you're serious about improving, you don't want to miss them. I also do live streams where I 1v1 subs, so you should join us. If you remember mistake number 1, we talked about how you shouldn't reload in the open or leave yourself exposed when vulnerable. But what if your enemy does that? What do you do? Most players I coached will see the enemy reloading exposed or sitting in the open while one-shot, and then choose not to do anything about it. One of the biggest mistakes is not punishing enemies when they make mistakes, because once you do punish that, not only do you win the round, but you also learn from them. You learn what not to do so you don't get punished the same way. You need to figure out when to push and when to play passively. It's really important. Another mistake would be not pre-aiming with your crosshair. Now, what does that mean? This is where your game sense plays a huge role. You have to keep track of how your opponent plays, the way they move, how they make decisions, because once you figure that out, you will know exactly where to expect them. You have seen pros pre-aim angles or pre-fire and hit insane shots, and the way they do it is pretty simple. Well, it is simple once you study your opponent enough, which is obviously the harder part. Let's use one of the examples examples I had, the opponent used fists or chainsaw, and he would always go ramp for that additional movement boost or to climb on the walls. So whenever I saw them on low ground or sitting behind the wall in spawn, where do you think they would show up next? On top of the wall, on the right side, or on the left? If you said on top, you haven't listened to a single thing I said. If you said right, there's a possibility, but it's less likely to happen. But if you said left, you're right. Okay, that sounded interesting. I meant to say you're correct. The opponent will almost always go to the left because that's where the ramp is located. And why would we expect him there? Because he's been going ramp the entire time. So we place our crosshair on the left side of the wall before he even shows up on our screen. And we either shoot before he appears to land a nice pre-fire, or we wait for him to peek and then keep shooting. Now that's just one example of how you can read your opponent, and that way you will know exactly where to expect them, where to position your crosshair, and how to properly pre-aim in fights like really good players do. This mistake happens a lot, and it's something many people do, including you too. You're way too confident, the opponent is worse than you, and your ego tells you that you're so much better than the guy, so you just hold W and win fights without thinking. Then, when you run into a better opponent, your ego is still there, and you simply don't give up. One of the biggest examples of that is sticking to a weapon you keep missing with. I will show a specific clip from one of the coaching episodes I had, and you will see exactly what I mean. The person I coached would switch to revolver once they ran out of bullets on AR and push the opponent fully confident in themselves. And even after missing almost every shot, they would reload and go back to doing the exact same thing, either in that round or the next one. And this genuinely becomes so bad because not only do you give your enemy the easiest comeback of their life, but you also create another habit that absolutely destroys your win rate. Then you blame everything other than the actual issue, which is your ego and being way too confident. One of the most important factors is decision making, and I have seen a lot of people make this mistake, which is panicking in clutch or match point situations. This specific mistake is unfortunately stuck in your head, and it's not something you can fix by learning specific game mechanics. You just have to change the way you think, which is obviously not easy. Being in clutch situations, either low HP or about to win a really difficult round, completely messes with your head because you start worrying too much about the outcome. Then you lose focus, make bad decisions, and eventually lose because of that simple mistake. I can't just tell you to stop caring about your games and not panic because it's not easy to do, but it's something you have to practice over time by simply playing the game and trying your best not to think about the outcome, but instead focus on the actual gameplay. When you think about it, everything is practice. Even mental games require some kind of practice, but these specific mistakes also require a lot of time and effort, which not many people put in because they usually give up. Try not to worry too much about the outcome. Ask yourself, why is win rate so important to you? What happens when you win the game? And what happens when you lose the game? And if the answers to all three questions are similar, then you will realize there's no point in worrying too much about it. I personally get nothing from winning or losing. Win rate is just something to show off, but does it really matter in the end? It doesn't prove whether I'm good or bad at the game, it's just a pointless statistic. Focus on improving rather than caring so much about winning unranked games. Improvement will help you in the long run, while win rate will slowly fade away. I want to thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I apologize for talking too much, but if you're looking for personalized one-on-one advice, you should check out my membership perks. By becoming a member, you will have a direct contact with me and be able to ask me anything you would like. And if you're interested in learning sniper, check the video on screen. I will see you guys in the next video.